Welcome back, everyone, to another podcast with me, Mac, and Jake. We're just after watching the Valencia Grand Prix, the decider. And I'm delighted to announce to everyone that Jake will have to wear a very sexy hot pink t-shirt very soon as part
Is
of
it
his forfeit.
is it going to be see-through? I hope.
Well, if you want to.
Hey, give me a finger to go all the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably watch time of that podcast will go. But
yeah, I want to be one ugly broad. Let me tell you.
Factual as ever, Jake.
I'll give you a nightmare. That was a vision you didn't need, right?
Yeah. So I suppose we'll also let people in on another secret that Jake was too scared to watch the race live.
Oh, of course. I'm a jinx. I'm telling you. It wasn't scared. I didn't want to ruin it. If I'd have picked Pecco, he would have been dead last. I mean it.
Well, look, I suppose that
I was just tricking God. Huh?
Tricking God, I get you. Well, look, the race was a little bit boring, I suppose, but it was kind of edge of the seat stuff because obviously so much was on the line. But let's talk about the two boys, or the two title contenders, I suppose. Pecco, what a weird weekend he had. Like, you could see, okay, maybe his mentality was that he was not going to risk anything till the race, and when the race started, my God, did he actually go for it? Like,
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Like,
that's why I didn't watch the race. Didn't you? Good.
Yeah, I just thought like I didn't expect him to be as aggressive in the opening laps. But he was, do you know what I mean? And like he stuck it to Fabio, which I didn't think he was going to do. I personally thought that he was going to try and stay 2 or 3 bikes behind Fabio, and whatever happens. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think he was going to go push it. And when I saw him going on the inside of turn 2, I was like, oh, and then they touched, a bit of smoke went up into the air, and
they bashed into each other. Yeah. I
was like, eek.
Oh, yeah. I bet you Fabio and his helmet was gone. He saw that wing go by and went, yes.
Yeah. And Binder was trying to score a goal then by giving it all headed. I don't know if you saw, but the wing went up and it hit Binder on the top of the helmet after it. But yeah, Fabio did put a little bit of manners on him, I suppose, after that. But again, like, that's a really strange circuit where like a tenth of a second is a quarter of a second in another circuit, and like say like Catalonia. Do you know what I mean? And you know, I didn't think did he use up too much of the tire at the opening laps, and then he just had nothing left towards the end? Is what I think happened to him. You know?
Yeah, he started to squirm. He was squirming around, and
yeah. When Binder was catching him, he was catching the ones in front. But as soon as Binder went past him, he had nothing then. Do you know what I mean? You could see he couldn't hang with Binder. But look, he drove or rode a brilliant race, stunning race. Now look, I still believe he had an awful lot of pressure on him, right? And he had to win. Do you know what I mean? It was 2:00 in a nightclub. Sorry, it's 1:55 in a nightclub. Nightclub closes at 2:00, and you don't have a girl on your arm for the night.
Yeah.
Desperations, like, you know.
I'll take your word for it because I'm a handsome bastard. Or I was a handsome bastard when I was young. Now look at me, Jesus Christ! Talk about go to hell. But anyhow,
well, look, you look better in your see-through pink.
Yeah, well, you know,
we might get you a date. But
I'd make a lousy fag.
But I just think with you know, he was. I think that last 10 laps, I think, I don't think he had any more left. And like, even when they interviewed him after, you know, like he was a typical moto rider. Like, he was like, when what was it? What did he say? Oh yeah, they were looking at Pecco and the Ducati team celebrating or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I just had to turn off the TV. It does kind of hurt."
Before the race started, like when you're saying the practice sessions, I thought Pecco was getting too cautious, and if you get too cautious, that's when guys go down. They lose concentration. Don't you agree? But it did put pressure on Fabio because Fabio wanted him to run like hell and maybe crash in FP1 or crash in qualifying.
That circuit, right? Like it was cold. Friday was cold and windy, and Saturday it was cold, right? Do you know what I mean? And there you could see it with Pecco. Like any time that there was any little movement in front, he's picking the bike up and running wide.
Yeah,
and like his philosophy or his mentality, I do believe, was that I don't want to crash.
Yeah.
Like
that's smart. That's a smart way to go, though.
Even a small, like low side,
mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like
it gets into your head.
It's not that it gets into your head, right? But everyone was giving him grief about shifting the pressure onto him. You have to win. Or Joe, you have to score. Like they were giving out to Pecco that he has to score 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they were trying to load that pressure onto him.
Yeah.
Now, tell me this. Is it harder to score 2 points or 25 points?
In his case, 2 points, I'd say.
In Fabio's case?
25.
So for 25. Me, the pressure on the two of them was always equal. But his approach, and he just came in and he's like, he needed to shut out the media, right? So he didn't need to crash. And the media be all over him then and be like, oh, he lost the front end and this, that, and the other. And do you know what I mean? So I believe that like his thing was going in, I'm going to be safe. I'll take my risk in qualifying only. Do you know what I mean? 1 or 2 laps. And then I'll be aggressive at the start of the race.
But you know what? When you say pressure, Lynn Jarvis had came out at the same time when they had the Yamahas in bad trouble for reliability. He had said that that Fabio was catching a lot of hell from the Yamaha fanboys, blaming him instead of the bike. You know how they are. They, no matter what it is, it's never the bike, right? So they were on social media, were giving him hell. And it was bothering him. He was like, that's why he was turning it off. He's like, I'm sick of hearing this. I'm riding 110% and somebody's giving me hell when the bike's too slow.
Look, that's the other thing. Like that's social media. No matter what happens, people are like that. You know,
they're gonna whine like hell.
Yeah, they are, and like I think Lynn Jarvis has had kind of quite a big week. If I'm honest, admitting that they probably should have signed Toprak.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a big thing that he would openly come out and say, we should have signed Toprak when we had the chance.
Yeah.
Now, I still find it very hard to believe that the contract that Toprak has with World Superbike could not be, seeing as it's directly with Yamaha itself.
Oh, they could have switched that over in a heartbeat. Heartbeat.
Now, maybe is it Toprak's team turning around and saying, well, we were interested and ye weren't. Now ye go sit in your pile of poo. Because what team, if Toprak is available, are not going to take him?
I know. And Toprak's management is not going to take the difference in money. It's huge. It's not like they're paying him World MotoGP money and World Superbike. It's just not happening. Like, he's going to make 3 times as much, but you turn it down? No.
And look, that's. I think it's a big thing, but I think, I have to take my hat off to Pecco. I think he came into the race weekend with a really, really good strategy. Do you know what I mean? And we give him grief about survival races. That was, in my view, the ultimate survival race that you're ever going to do.
Yeah.
And I think we also forget that Fabio, while he hasn't been down to a title showdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has the comfort of being world champion.
Yeah, he
Do you know what I mean?
does.
So he
It's not his
knows.
first time. Yes.
So
Yes.
whereas Pecco, it's like, you know, girl touches your leg for the first time, what do you do?
Yes. Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And I just think, I think next year, even if it came down to the same sort of situation between the two of them, I think he would be a lot more confident and stronger within himself. I still think he'd probably do it the same way because he's quite a conservative person. Do you know what I mean? But
He was very calm, I thought, after the race, Pecco. I thought he'd be like, yes, you know what I mean? He was kind of like, yeah, okay,
yeah. I think. Well, look, let's be fair, right? I'm waiting, and I keep checking Instagram for Tadazzi.
Oh, I know. I was looking for him
to see him dancing. Like during the race, your man Tadazzi's heartbeat was up at 125 beats per minute, and he was just standing there doing nothing. Right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But look, I think overall, I think it's a well-deserved championship. Like realistically,
yes.
if either of them walked away world champion, they hands down deserved it. They were class of the field.
Yeah, they were.
You know,
and Ducati deserves it. They've had how many years have they made the best bike out there and just could not afford to pay the $20 million to get the very best rider? You know, they signed the Marquezes and they signed the Quartararos. They signed Rossi for way less money than he had normally was taken. Right, he took a huge pay cut by half, and that was when he had the Monoquib chassis that was a failure. If he'd have stayed another year, he'd have a hell of a chance. He probably would have had another title in his pocket. Okay.
Yeah, possibly.
Stoner they picked up when nobody knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
So, and everybody else just priced him out. Lorenzo was done by the time they picked him up. He was washed up.
Yeah, but I think Lorenzo still had something in there, and I like. But for me, I think it's a great installment for these whole rider academies sort of things. You know what I mean? And look, it shows the progress that people have made. Now, there is no more VR46 rider academy per se, right? Do you know what I mean? They're sharing Moto 2. I think Vietti will be their last proper academy rider. But look, I just think overall, you can't fail or you can't doubt any of them for what they've done. No one actually lost the championship today. Do you know what I mean?
Who picked up the? You're better at this than I. Who picked up the ball for VR46, or did they just drop off face of the earth?
No, so they closed down the Moto 3 team.
Right.
And then they've linked up with Fantic.
Fantic. Yeah, Fantic. I remember that.
So Fantic are going to take over VR46 Moto 2 team next year, but it's still going to be run by VR46, but as Fantic. So Vietti will be in there, and whoever but I don't know, because even this year they ran Vietti and Antonelli, but Antonelli was not part of the VR46 Academy. I think he was a paid rider.
Oh, and there will be a new team next year in MotoGP. When at least a new team. When KTM bought MV, right? There's going to be they're going to brand it MV and have a new MotoGP team next year.
No, it's Gas.
No, I know what you're talking about with the gas, but there's going to be
a third one. They're going to run 6 bikes.
Yeah, supposed to be MV Augusta MotoGP bike. Just because it's a KTM with a neat paint job, because they're going to use that. They're going to use that old name. You know what I mean? That old.
Yeah. But look, that'll just be realistically what that is title sponsorship. So, but they won't get any concessions or anything out of that.
Right? Yeah. No.
But yeah, look, I didn't hear that. But look, if they are, that's 6 KTMs on the grid. That can't be too bad for them.
Oh no! Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose the other
at least it'll be the same bike. Will they will be able to transfer data. Please tell people. I've said it to 1,000 times. How many bikes did Ducati have, and tell them how they could not transfer data because the bikes were all different. I get these people and it's driving me nuts. They're going, oh, they
Okay,
transfer. No, they can't.
So yeah, look, I suppose, look, in my view, this is the way I look at it. Ducati are running 8 bikes, right? They're running 5 22s and 3 21s. Okay.
But the 22s are 2 different bikes. There's a GP 22 and the GP 22.5.
2.5. Yeah.
2 different bikes altogether.
Yeah. So
yeah.
For example, in the Works Riders case, it's the 22.5.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what that is it's a mixture of 21 engine components and 22 engine components in that one engine. Okay. But the chassis does not run the active front ride height.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay. In Zarco's case, Zarco runs the active front ride height and the standard 22 engine, the one they came out with.
Mm-hmm.
In Martin's case, he does not run the active front suspension, but runs the standard 22 engine,
right?
Not the 22.5. Right? In Marini's case, right?
Yeah.
He is the last one at the end of the hill, so he gets whatever Martin and them don't want. So his bike would be the same as Martin's bike at the start of the year, but Martin's would get the development first.
Right.
For the 21s, what would happen there? Now, Bastianini got an awful lot of the parts from 22, so he got the 22 aero update, he got the 22 swing arm, etc. And that was mainly to have it fair in the battle with Martin. But the other two got minimal.
Right.
I think they got the 22 swing arm that the boys didn't want in the Pramac team.
Right.
Okay. Now, are things transferable? For me, Zarco's data is not transferable because Zarco was running front active ride height and at times different frames. Right? Were the factory team's engines the data from that compatible? No,
for those two.
Wasn't. For those two,
really?
No, it wasn't compatible with because they were 22.5 engines.
Right. Okay, they're not compatible with them. With the Pramac ones, right?
Right. So even when they're looking at the data characteristics of when they open the throttle, what happens to the chassis would be slightly different. There would be bits that would be transferable, but nothing. But nothing. Martin's
solid.
Martin's chassis stuff. They could use that engine. Sorry, so they could use the data. So Zarco's out of there. I said that because of his front active ride height, and he changes frames quite regularly, right? Whereas Martin's chassis could look to see, okay, what is the difference for next year's engines? Because remember, the 22.5 is a mixture of the 21 and the 22. So they could see,
and the 22.5 had no preseason testing or anything at all because they finished it like the day or the 3 days before the first race. It was unbelievable. They by the way, which one do you want? Oh shit, we just put that one together, and that's how that went. So anyhow, I'm sorry.
So look, while Martin's chassis stuff is somewhat transferable, it's not a full map of like for like. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, the guys in the 21s,
they're settled. Yeah,
that is compatible. That they can put up. So like when
everything's sorted on the 21s, right?
When they put the wings onto Bastianini's bike, they could have a night and day improvement. Was it better for the chassis? Yes or no?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Now, Martin and Marini's data that could technically be put across if he was using, say, the same swing arm as Martin.
Mm-hmm.
But it would all be reliant on that everyone was using the same spec parts. So like frame A to frame or to swing arm A.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? But like if I was running frame A and you were running frame A, but I was running swing arm B and you were running swing arm A,
Mhm.
then the data changes because we're running
Right.
through different parts. But then which is flexing better? So
Yeah.
it comes into more. So you could do a test like that, but like they couldn't literally take the 22 and what Pramac were having, or sorry,
Right.
the works team and what Pramac had, and correlate the two of those together. They could just use them to test, but like the engine would always be an outlying factor because the engine was different.
Right. Now, can I interject here or something?
Yeah.
Well, now when people look, they'll scream, "Oh my God, they won because they had 8 bikes." The 8 bikes hurt them badly because the engineers do not have track testing. Okay, so they used to take something and have a part, and they hand it to a test rider. He tests it and say, "Is it good or bad?" And they test between the 2 or 3 parts that they have.
Mhm.
Well, all of a sudden they had 8 bikes, and now they're all different. Right? You got 3 different
Yeah.
2 different engines, 3 different chassis, 3 different bikes. So there was just so much work to get done in such a little period of time, right? That they didn't have it sorted. Remember, the mapping was horrible. I mean, it was almost killed Miller. So that's why the first 5 races they were finishing 12th and 13th. So 5 races because they did the 8 bikes were down the tubes. Hal, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well,
they won this year.
So yes, look, we in my view, we'll clear up this problem. Running 8 bikes is not a problem for them. Was not a problem for them. It was the problems that came with the 8 bikes, or because of the late change in engine spec, that created the problem for the first few races. So
no time.
So like what Gigi said was that 8 bikes is not a problem. Logistically, it's not a problem for them to run 8 bikes. But remember, this is 5 works of 22 and 3 already that were already in the dust room, not going to be used, and now they're gaining money back from it, right?
Yeah. Once it's all sorted, it's fine. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The late engine spec change definitely caused issues for Ducati, right? Hands down. They had to remap that, get the shit started, get Pecco's mind in the game as well. Do you know what I mean? Pecco had to give him a kick in the arse as well to say, stop fucking changing the bike.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And as soon as that happened, he knew what he was throwing his leg over, away he went.
When they did that, I thought their season was done. When they had mapping problems and then they had 5 bad races, I thought they're done. Imagine he had 5 races down the tube. He had 5 crashes. Okay. And you say, would that guy win the title? No freaking way. Come back 91 points.
I did say, okay, so I did say that Pecco at the start of the season, I said Pecco is weaker in the first half than the second half.
Yep.
I did say before the summer break when he was 91 points behind that he was definitely probably gone, right? But like he just showed his worth. Now, did he make it hard for himself? Yes, he made it very hard by those stupid little mistakes, i.e. Japan. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you're hell on a Japan race.
Yeah. I if I ever meet him, I'm going to remind him that fucking Egypt for Japan. But again, look, I just think they did make it hard for themselves at the start. I do believe that they were right to make this swap of engine and the choice. It's a difficult decision, but again, this is what separates, in my view, the European manufacturers from the Japanese. Because if this was Honda or if that was Yamaha or Suzuki, and they needed to change that engine late in the year or late in the season testing, they would have stuck with the same engine for the year.
And to be quite honest, I mean, the Europeans, that's why the F1 Center is in Brackley, England, okay? The Europeans are known for their engineering and their innovation. The Japanese are known for copying other people's innovation. They you know what I'm saying? But
they work to a different philosophy, right? And let's take Yamaha as a perfect example. How long have Stegosaurus wings being on the back of bikes.
Oh, what?
British Grand Prix? No, British
It's been a
Grand
month?
Prix. British Grand Prix is where they came out, I think.
Yeah, I think it was his British Grand Prix. I think you're right. I was sure of it.
Yep.
So
Yamaha,
that's what, about a month?
Yeah. No, the British Grand Prix is ages ago.
Really? Okay.
I think it was in the middle of the summer, July, I think.
Yeah.
I think July. I think it was before. I can't remember. But it came
Yeah, I'm
out in
getting lost
British
on that.
Grand Prix. British Grand Prix was a while ago. And we saw Honda bring them out.
Yes, just now. Yeah.
Was it Australia they brought them out? So
Yes.
two races
Yes.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
Lo and behold, Yamaha arrived up this weekend with a set of Stegosaurus wings on the back of Crutchell's bike. I'm not sure if people see them. If they haven't, I'll be doing a video on it anyway. But again, do you know what I mean? It's just like
Pirelli had it right away. Pirelli had it right away, and ATM had it right away. They had their different versions, but they had them immediately.
They had their versions going. Do you know what I mean? And that's where I suppose for me is the problem with the Japanese thing, right? Because probably Yamaha and Honda were like, oh, we'll have to put 1,000 miles on these and make sure that they're durable and they won't break and they won't fall off. And when you look at the European manufacturers, so if it falls off. So we'll just put on another one, or we'll resin.
We need more staples. Yeah,
exactly.
Anybody duct tape? Yeah.
So the 7th of August, the first race back after the winter break was when the Stegosaurus wings, I think, appeared. 7th of August. So we're going August, September, October, November. So realistically, took Yamaha for August, September, October, nearly 4 months to look and to design something that was clearly printed on a 3D printer.
Yeah. Yep.
Shows me. And I think that's where, like, I commend Ducati for taking that risk with that engine. They found something that wasn't right. The riders weren't happy with it. And they were like, okay, how do we get more drivability out of this engine? Make it less aggressive. They found a way. They did it. And they have the championship.
Yeah.
And
what about Binder, by the way? If we're going to get back onto the race. I mean, he did one hell of a ride at KTM.
He did. He is on a new chassis this weekend. And again, a European thing. Let's test this in the race and see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. Like I said, though, they don't. Do you have to test during the race? They don't have any testing time. They're not allowed any. But it's insane.
But it's not even that, because what it's done now is that he's done a full race on that, right? Mm-hmm. That's only half. Now, he said in the interview after, that's only half of the step that the engineers have promised, right? So he's like, so when we test on Tuesday, we have data now from race day that we can correlate to on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there and you're just like going, that makes brilliant sense. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it makes brilliant sense. And then talk about Honda. Alex Marquez, believe it or believe it not, was running Stegosaurus wings.
Yeah.
What's the fucking point? It's his last race. You know what I mean? You could have given him 3 races ago.
I'm surprised that he's moving to Ducati. You think they wouldn't give him anything new?
But they have them anyway, so it's like it's not going to make a difference.
But if you wouldn't give him anything, just so they don't have a comparison,
Oh yeah.
Just my thought.
I was just like, I saw a picture of him and I was just like, why? Why now? Like, do you know what I mean? Like. But I think Marquez, he had a really, really weird weekend.
Question. I know I'm hitting you with this. What tires were he running? Because I didn't get to see. I haven't went back and saw that. Was he running that soft again?
No, I think it was medium.
On both front and rear?
The funny thing about his bike is that he was running what's called a high bike. So he had raised the bike up higher.
Okay. I didn't know they had a name for it, but
high bike is. But basically, they'd raised the bike up for him.
Okay.
Which made it harder to ride, but I think he was faster. That he was faster with typical Mark Marquez. Like, it's harder to ride, but it's faster, so I'll do it. You know.
The bike, the front end, he comes out in the first corner. I swear, and all of a sudden, he's right away. The front end's washing on him. You could see it. They had the shoulder cams, like, whoa, he's saving it. I'm like, Jesus, he's gonna have a rough day. I was very surprised he did that well.
Yeah. No, look, like he was doing well, but you know,
he had his hands full.
Yeah, he had his hands full. I wonder what they're going to come out with. They're not coming out with a full prototype anyway on Tuesday. That's a fact. They asked Pooch directly, and it was Crayfair, and the two of them. You could see the two of them were laughing. You know what I mean? And Crayfair asked him, he's like, "What are you bringing in full prototype or whatever?" And he's like, "No, we're still at the parts stage." Do you know what I mean? So maybe that comes back to Mark's thing of, you know, we're already behind because we don't have the fucking bike even built.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, that the full prototype won't be available for now. Interestingly enough, they've also said that they're not. Interestingly enough, they said that they don't have. Or they have not yet decided the bikes that Rins and Mir will ride. Whether it'll be a 21, 22, or a hybrid 22, 23. Yeah. So I found it interesting.
You know, Honda, I'm not bashing Honda. They make good engines, but their race chassis engineering has always been horrible. Even in their heyday, in their glory days, in the past 40 years, and I'm aging myself because I remember back 40 years, when they first got back into MotoGP, they've had all of one sweet handling bike, and that was the V3. Remember the NS? Go to hell. The NS 500 V3, and it was a very low horsepower bike that was very light. Now they always went the high horsepower route, which is the tougher way. You got
Screamer engines. I remember that. Was out the Screamer engines and the twin.
Yeah, but well, it was they always went the higher horsepower route, meaning they always pushed the maximum horsepower. They didn't cut it back like Yamaha for handling. You know, they always tried to get the most horsepower, which is always a tough way to go when you're trying to do handling. You know how much, like you said, horsepower is handling's nemesis, right? So why? This is the worst bike they've ever had in 40 years for handling. Why don't they outsource it? You know what I mean? That's why I don't have much faith in them fixing the bike. I mean,
yeah, I do though. I think will it be in the front next year? And when I mean front, I don't mean Marc Marquez in the front.
Right. We mean everybody.
Everyone. Look, I'll go blue in the face from this, but look, for me, you know, they need to build a good base bike that the majority can get.
That hasn't happened since 2001 with a V5.
I think KTM finished. I think KTM finished second in the teams championship. Do you know that?
No.
With a pick of a bike. But anyway, look, that's neither here nor there. But like for me, it was just I think they will do better. I think their mind is now open to change rather than very closed still. Do you know what I mean? And the fact, and this is like what I mentioned about the difference between Yamaha and Honda, right? Honda don't have to worry about engine power; they have to worry about their chassis.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly.
Yamaha don't have to worry about their chassis; they have to worry about their engine power.
Well, now they do because this is the first time that Yamaha is trying to go high horsepower route, right?
Oh.
Right. And, you know, apparently you hear the thing that the horsepower is affecting the chassis. This is all new to them. Think about it. They're going to say we're going to get maximum. And the higher the horsepower is, the tougher the chassis engineering is. Yeah.
Yeah. But then saying that, I have to say then that Yamaha's sweet spot has always been chassis engineering.
Yeah.
But I have more faith in Yamaha to figure out a chassis solution, or Honda?
Oh,
Probably.
definitely. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So for me, when I look at it like that, but where I'm talking with Honda is they don't have to worry about their engine; they have to worry about their chassis. But they're now looking at their chassis and aerodynamics in a far bigger way than Yamaha are looking at their engine and aerodynamics.
Yeah, and I think they are asking for help. I think there are,
I think there's a big thing there now. And look, let's make no bones about it. Mark Marquez has put him on notice and saying, "Listen, if you don't give me a good race winning bike within the next 2 years, I'm gone." His brother's over there in Ducati next Tuesday, right?
I think they got 1 year. I think they got 1 year. I think he'll run out of patience if that thing isn't good next year. How long has he been waiting on a good chassis? Oh, let me guess. Let me look. His whole freaking career. You know
yeah, yeah. I don't think he'll like. Let's be real. He knows that this is going to take at least 12 months to turn that around, right? From where he is right now. So I think if he doesn't have that bike for 2024,
oh no, he's gone.
And especially if his younger, slower brother,
that's
on a Ducati and is like. So I'm sitting back in an armchair, with my arm out the window, riding my bike. You look like that you've been 20 rounds with Mike Tyson.
Right here.
Yeah. So,
that's the difference. Many times he said, if you don't build me a better bike, I'm out of here. 2019. Remember, he said, oh, I got to have a better bike. Right. Bike's it's a crappy. He actually said it's a bad handling bike. That was the year that Honda said no. And Marquez almost left. You know that. Remember, he said, I'll leave. Because Honda said, oh, anybody can win on our bike. It wasn't his skills, right? It was our bike. And when he said he was going to leave, man, they turned that right around and said, oh, sorry, we made a mistake. Honda did. And said, oh, no, it was Marquez's skills, But if the big difference is now that his brother is on a Ducati, right? Now the game's on.
Now it's serious.
Now
it's very, very serious. If Alex Marquez consistently beats or gets near Marc Marquez on the Ducati,
yeah.
Imagine what Marc would do on the Ducati.
Yes.
And Marc is getting to the stage of his career where he is running out of time.
Yeah. He wants them titles.
He doesn't have time to develop a bike. He doesn't have to. So he has 2 years in the contract that he's stuck in, right? And this is why Al Zamora got done, right? Because he's been stuck into a long-term contract with Pigs of Bikes, right? And I just think, I think today he did quite well until obviously, but that bike was out of control all weekend long. You could see it with him.
Yeah.
But for me,
Paul crashed.
I'd say Paul probably just got out on purpose and ended down. What's one more crash?
The cruel world, yeah.
Here's a fucking expensive repair bill, you bastards, right? But listen, Rins was just fucking mega, absolutely mega. I don't know if you know this, right? But Rins was crying on the grid. He got so emotional about this being the last race for Suzuki. When his engineers were around him, he was crying.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, do you notice it wasn't that fast? They turned that horsepower down. It was not flying. He rode that thing.
Listen, look, like he was riding that now, but like he was going to prison tomorrow. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what he was.
He was riding to a date.
That's it. That like he was absolutely brilliant. The start was Pecco-esque from Sepang.
Yeah.
And like you could see now it was difficult conditions for everyone because like that circuit is just one of those fucking weird ones. You know what I mean? Hard front tire. Do you know what I mean? But it takes time for that tire to come up to speed or up to temperature and stuff like that. And it's a horrible, horrible, horrible feeling for the first 2 laps. But he was pushing, man, and I was actually feeling I was actually in kind of mixed terms because I was delighted to see Binder doing well, and I was like, "Geez, it'd be great for Binder to be to get a win."
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, "It's a good way then for Suzuki to
Yeah.
go out, you know." And I just thought, like, I was just like, and like when they interviewed him after, he was just you could see like he was actually drained of emotions completely. He was just like, your one was talking to him. He didn't know whether he was coming or going or this, that, and the other, and then the Suzuki test rider Sylvain Gintoli was actually doing commentary and the punditry with BT Sports, and they were bringing Rins's bike back into the garage from Parc Ferme or whatever. And you could actually see that Sylvain broke out from his group, ran over and gave the bike a kiss. Do you know what I mean? Because like the bike is like his little baby as well. But but you could see it. They had Davide, what's his name? Bravo. He was the ex-team manager of Suzuki. And you could see, like, he was just saying that, like, majority of that team is the original team that started the program and the project. And, a lot of them some of them have got some good spots. And I do think Yamaha have taken some of their engineers, especially they have, yeah. So like that'll be really, really, especially their electronic engineers, I think, is that they've taken an engine. But look, I think it was the perfect way for Suzuki to exit the championship. 2 wins in the last 3 races.
You had to give, in the beginning of the year, I had to give Suzuki credit for having the balls to run that much horsepower in an inline 4, because it was always suspect right from day one. You know, I mean, they blew up a lot of engines. Christ, they blew up 4 engines out of 9. I think they were pedaling on the last race. You know, I mean, they had to turn the power down. But let me tell you one thing, clear up a semi-myth. The inline 4 engine, okay, when they say it can turn better on slow, short, or slow, tight corners, okay? Because the crank, that heavy crank, which has more inertia, is out. It can be lower in the frame and more forward. So it can go around a tight corner better, right? But when you start to get faster corners, like the medium corners, and especially the long sweeping fast corners, okay, because of that large crank in the inertia, the V4 has better turning ability in a faster situation. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
That large crank becomes a detriment for turning instead of an attribute. It's an attribute going low.
I'll tell you one thing, right? There was no one looked better than Rins in turn 13.
Well, that's a tight corner, though. Yeah.
Well, no, it's a long corner coming into a tight bend at the end.
Okay, I'm missing. I got the ones off then. Yeah.
Yeah. It was. He looked fucking on rails through it, like, do you know what I mean? Now you could see the V4 is coming out of the corner. We're just fucking we're able to eat them then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That the inline 4 couldn't just get the initial punch out of the circuit. But look, we're not going to get into V4s and fucking L4s because look,
we'll be all about today. Yeah.
My Yamaha.
But no, what I'm saying is, Fabio, I think the elephant in the room for next year is all the sprint races. That's going to be hard for everybody.
It is, and like I still think there has to be some regulations coming out.
You would think so,
because they're half race distance. So like today's race was 27 laps, so it's 13 race laps. Do you know what I mean? So like that is a lot of.
Well, I thought it was 10. They had 10 laps.
No,
they're setting it.
No,
half. Oh, it's a half.
Half race distance. Half race distance. I think it's 14,
another thing they said. Yeah,
14 liters of fuel. And I think they can only go instead of having 5 track limit warnings or excursions, they can only have 3.
Okay.
But no, I think I just thought but Rins for me, Mir didn't do a bad job either. Do you know what I mean? 6th place. You know, he's still coming back from injury. Do you know?
Yeah.
He has carpal tunnel syndrome as well, so he's going for surgery after the test. Now, is he going because he actually has it, or is he going because he's going to hand and he'll probably get it?
It's a preemptive strike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, I just think overall,
That's funny.
Tuesday is going to be a big day for everyone. A lot of people moving around. It'd be good to see what Yamaha have been working on, particularly engine. Now, we're not going to see the top speeds that we saw in the Zeno because the Stefan straight is not that long here,
okay.
so it's going to be quite hidden. I will be interested to see, do they run the duckbill on the front or do they leave that off?
I bet you money they're going to pull like they did the last one. They're going to make a real small aero package, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to horsepower. Go to that. They know that real small aero package. It doesn't work on a track. It doesn't work on a thing.
This is the thing.
Just to get that one lap wonder for the press.
But they did. Yeah, I don't think.
Or one straightaway wonder. Let's put it that way. Yeah, because it's lousy. It doesn't work on a track. You can't use it in a race.
Yeah, but see here, because the Stefan straight is so small.
Yeah.
It's not really going to make a difference whether they take off the aero or not.
You're saying you don't have enough time to get the thing up, even if you're geared up.
So I think maybe removing the aero might actually hurt them on lap time.
Oh, removing the aero hurt it last time because it was horrible. Remember, it was like taking the aero off.
Yeah, but he was still quick. I think he set the circuit record.
Not with a small aero. He didn't. No, it was with a big aero package.
Was it? Okay,
they had a new big aero package that was best on the lap times. The only thing that small aero package was good for, he was like limping around, coming out of the last corner, going like the hammers of hell, and then it was a one straight wonder. So it gave him that one lap for a great trap speed for the press, and said, "Oh look, it went fast." Okay. And then it never happened again if you didn't notice. You know what I
mean? Yeah, look, for me, I think they'll come out with something. I genuinely do. I don't think they could be spoofing too much that they have this engine, or Crutchlow wouldn't, and Crutchlow's not one to talk shit in that sort of way. He said it's an improvement, so I would be fairly confident something is coming for it. The other side of the coin, look, with these fastest laps and this, that, and the other, we all know V4 versus inline 4 and all of this hunk of junk and rubbish. But if you put a Ducati in front of a Yamaha, the Yamaha can't run the lines that the inline 4 needs.
Yeah. Period.
Game over. Do you know what I mean? If that's coming out onto a long straight, the V4 will pull 10 yards. And unless the Honda or the Yamaha has even if they're 10, 12, 15 brake horsepower behind, they'll still struggle to close that gap in the slipstream.
Yeah. But with the extra sprint races, with these 20 extra sprint races, which is a lot, okay? Mm-hmm. And they're saying they're going to use the same amount of engines. So I don't see anybody up in the horsepower. That's too much of a risk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, look, it
unless they change. Yeah, it depends if they let them have more engines. Okay, but if they leave it the way it is, would you want to put more horsepower? And when you're doubling, when you're putting 20 more races in there,
See, this is where I think things will go. If I'm very honest, is that it will probably sacrifice them one engine, and that engine will be the sprint race engine.
Yeah,
throughout the year. So every sprint race you use that sprint race engine. Do you know what I mean? Like they would have done with the not a mule engine, but the engine with your highest mileage. Do you know what I mean? You use that till it fucking blows up. And I think that's where they're going to go. The sprint races aren't going to be really the valuable races. Do you know what I mean, for riders? Because I don't actually think they even count in the record books as a race win.
I was going to say they count in the points department.
They count in the points, but not in the actual records. So but I think they will start using their older engines in the sprint and start keeping the newer, fresher ones for the races. Now, if you look at testing or what they would normally do in FP4,
Yeah.
they would normally do 17 or 18. I know it's not race laps, but again, they would normally do 17 or 18 laps.
Yeah.
So if they're reducing that, just say, to 13 laps of race, then look, yeah, it is still going to cause higher engine wear. But again, I think they could manage it smartly. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be massive engine mouth, but for me, where the more danger point is that there's an extra race, right, where it could be damaged. Do you know what I mean? When you're out testing or when you're out doing your own thing, you're running your own program. Do you know what I mean? You're
Right.
not really up close and personal. But when you're racing, you're racing for position, right? So for me, within that, it brings that height. It heightens that extra bit of danger that you might come off in the sprint race on Saturday.
Yeah.
And won't make Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or you damage your bike and you damage your engine.
Yeah.
You have to use one of. Do you know what I mean? That's. But yeah, look, I think Thursday, or sorry, so Tuesday, I think is going to be really, really interesting to see what happens. Obviously, we have a new riders coming in. What's his name? The new Moto 2 World Champion, Augusto Fernandez.
Okay. Yeah.
Coming into KTM.
Ralph's brother. Yeah.
Cousin, I think it's his cousin. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was his brother. Okay.
No, it's his cousin.
They all look alike.
Jesus Christ. You have Oliveira going to RNF. I don't know. Did you see that RNF have been taken? One majority of their shares have been taken over by a crypto firm. Actually.
Really?
Uh-oh. Yeah. Yes, and of course, I suppose the biggest kind of mover and shaker really is Miller to KTM, which I would love to be inside the helmet of Jack Miller
on his first ride out. Yeah, on his first possession out.
What the fuck is this? But actually, just to tell you something very funny about kind of shows the relationship that Jack has with the guys in Ducati.
You're brutal.
He obviously his contract with KTM starts tomorrow. So the Ducati guys bound him up, wrapped him up in duct tape, and lifted him down to the KTM garage to deliver him to KTM.
No, you're kidding me.
I swear to God, yeah. And they were like pretending to kick him. They're like, "Here you go, you can take our rubbish."
You have him now.
I just thought it was brilliant from him. But look, it just shows, I suppose, the other side of MotoGP that a lot of people don't see. But yeah, look, obviously we'll be streaming on Tuesday. Yeah, I'll be streaming on Tuesday for it. It'd be interesting to see what goes down. I am expecting a good update from Yamaha. It will be interesting to see. I when it comes to testing, I don't care about lap times. The proof would be in the pudding to see, can a Yamaha overtake a Ducati or a Honda or an Aprilia down the straight. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for. It's like, how do they fare there? Do you know what I mean? Or are they still going to be caught up behind it? I do believe testing is on live on TV as well on BT Sports. So I'll record that and have more detailed looks than on the computer screen. But I'm not expecting anything major from Honda. I am expecting something major from Yamaha. I'm expecting with Ducati that we'll see that new frame. Well, sorry, we won't see the new frame, but the new frame will be there. Yeah. And I do expect a big update from KTM and maybe Aprilia. I think Aprilia need to come out with something now as well. I don't know. Yeah.
They got it. Well, like I said, they have such little testing. There's no way to catch up. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And folks, when I say open testing, it's like concessions that you have all the time, and it's like everybody having concessions, right? Mm-hmm. And this way, Honda could catch up, Yamaha could catch up if they're good. I mean, if their engineering department is too weak, they're not going to win any way you look at it.
Well, look, I
But,
think,
but at least give them a chance.
I think Formula One have things in a right way of now. A lot of their on-track testing is taken down as well.
Well, they
But
have
like,
limits, but they're not like this. This is insane.
I think next year they have. MotoGP has 5 days for GP riders that they can test. Which
But
is
the thing is,
no. No, that's 5 days for the GP riders.
right? But
That's
nothing
not
for the engineers. That's the big. That's the big kicker.
No. I'll root out the regulation. They can do test rider tests. Let me find the regulate. There is a regulation there for that, but it's GP riders only have 5 days. Because, for example, Cal Crutchlow was testing last weekend in Jerez on the Yamaha.
Find me how much, because me how much, because
he was testing, and they said this. He was testing Friday and Saturday of last week.
I've always read they don't have it. So, or are they meaning?
I tried.
Or is it? Or are they meaning it's so little that it's, next to nothing? If you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Look, there is more testing than we know, because I only found out last Sunday that Cal was in Jerez testing the Yamaha, and it's the new Yamaha he was testing.
Okay,
so there's no pictures of it. There's no. But he was testing the new Yamaha. Was shaking down the new 23 prototype Yamaha.
Good, because you know what, the bikes have become so technical. Okay, and the chassis engineers become so much harder. Okay, this isn't 1970 or 1980 when you had a chassis, an engine, and 2 wheels and a handlebar. These things are like riding a 2-wheeled computer, for God's sake, and the arrows and the aerodynamics and everything has to work together as a package. Like you say, the Japanese, they just can't staple on a wing and say, okay, there it is. Everything has to work together. So they need a lot. Exactly. They need open testing more than they ever have.
Yeah, but my rule on open testing, I think
and they would. But the great rule you have is that they have to do the year before. But they'll save so much money when they can have 10 engineers instead of 60 engineers, which they need now, because everything's done on a thing. That they'll be like, 1 extra year to have somebody keep it going. That's not a problem.
Just look what Ducati have done, right? All Ducati have done for their 21s is put the 22 swing arm and the 22 aerodynamics on a 21 bike. Just an update.
Yeah. Right.
Do you know what I mean? But you're getting rid of that one. Like there was one of, I think, on Bastianini's bike, you could still see the logos from the main Ducati team under the paint. That's all. Technically, all it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And look. Anyway, I am really excited for Tuesday. Like, I'm nearly more excited on Tuesday than the race today. Well, not really, but almost. I'm delighted that I won. Just saying, Jay.
Honestly, I'm delighted you won too.
Yeah.
And not just for the shirt, but that's that's an extra perk.
You now have your excuse to wear pink.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know that was your goal in life.
It'll go with the pumps. It'll go with the pumps. You know what I mean?
That's it. But look, I think we'll probably catch up Tuesday night, maybe after the or maybe Wednesday, and we'll just have a chat. We might do something for the test, or we might just leave it off till the following week. Let's wait and see what happens. If there's some really interesting stuff come out. But other than that, look, it's been an epic year.
Yeah.
I never thought at the start of the year that we would have every manufacturer win except Honda.
Yeah. When they said it didn't hit me. They didn't win all year. Now, they don't get concessions because they had podiums, right?
Nope.
Like if they didn't get a podium and a win, then they could have got concessions.
They get something, but I don't think it's much. Like,
yeah,
they're an established team now. Like, you know what I mean? like the concessions were for new manufacturers coming in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like when Aprilia came in and when KTM came in, they won fuck all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Honda with concessions go fuck off. Like, do you know what I mean? You have hundreds of millions of dollars. You have no financial budget that you have to adhere to, like Formula One, say, for example.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You can go away and hire 400 fucking engineers to fix your problems if you want to fix them.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But
who
yeah,
has you know who was surprising that KTM has a bigger budget than Ducati or Aprilia.
Does it?
Yes.
It's interesting.
Then again, they sell more bikes too. They sell more than you think.
They would do, but it's not just the bikes that they sell. You know,
I know they have the race, their little track car, or whatever.
Their Expo and whatever. Like they're all millionaire playboy young fellas toys. Do you know what I mean? And not because they like them. It's just like, I just need to have one sitting over there.
Yeah,
but like their stuff that they do is quite catchy, cool as well. Do you know what I mean? I have to admit, I'd probably buy one. But
I've owned KTM's myself. Yeah, I've had the KTM road racing bike, the super bike, and an adventure bike. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I looked at a KTM. Yeah, I looked at the KTM and I was like, Jesus, I don't know, would my arse fit between the saddle and the back of it? And I was like, I won't. I stick to my Yamaha. But look, I think look, it's been a marvelous season so far. Testing Tuesday, and
I'll tell you, you have done a hell of a job. I'll tell you, during this year. I mean, you worked your arse off, as you guys would say, and did very good work. I mean, sorry, I'm not even being biased. You're better than Crash, and you're better than all the other ones I've seen out there.
Here, look, I'm just trying to be myself, and I've always said I don't watch Crash or I don't watch other podcasts or stuff like that. I look around at different news articles, give my thoughts or my opinions, and look, we have a conversation, and that's what the channel is about. It's not about
and it's been honest.
Yeah, it's not about being right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's giving your opinion, and I don't agree with some people's opinions. They don't agree with mine. That's fine. That's life. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to change the world whether we're arguing about whether fucking Honda or whoever is better than what. Yeah. But look, you know, for me, it's been a great journey. I put out the poll about publishing, and we'll just see what happens. Minimum 3 times a week is kind of leading the way. Which is good.
You could even go 2 times a week. You could go 2 to 3, depending on how much stuff's out there.
We'll just see exactly what's going on. You know, there's still a lot of videos that I'd like to do before the end of the year. Yeah. Maybe I might slow down for January actually, but and then because we'll be ramping up for February for testing. And then look.
Okay, we have 2 more superbike races too.
We do. Yes. Next weekend in Mandalika, where I tell you this though, right? And look, we'll talk about this maybe next week, but if Bautista doesn't do it, just throw him on the scrappy.
Like, how the hell can he not do it at this point? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to a whorehouse with $1 million and not.
Oh, we're getting censored tonight.
that is the long. Like he can't not win it. Like, you know what I mean? But then Mandalika
they have 3 races a weekend though. Man, that always jump. Yeah,
it's a pricking circuit. You know what I mean? And it is. But I don't know. Look, we'll see what happens.
Hopefully it sticks together. Remember?
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully it's not coming apart.
No, it's a brand new circuit or a brand new surface that's done for it. Yeah,
but they did that before. They put the new surface on, but they didn't do it right, and it was coming apart. Remember?
I'd say that the FIM now shoved their foot so far up their arse that it's done
and the
right
mud,
this time.
Everything else. Yeah.
It's done right this time. And look, I suppose today as well, big day for the channel again. We crossed another line.
Did we?
We got to
Did ya?
6,000
Smart.
subscribers, which is way more than I ever thought that. When it was actually around this time last year, well, maybe a month earlier, I started planning that I was going to do the channel. And look, it's far exceeded my expectations of where we go. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who subscribes, who gets involved. That's what it's all about. It's not about anything else than just building a community for people who want to talk about bikes, listen about bikes, argue about bikes. But I always listen. Look,
and we have good members. I mean, you have
we
good
do,
members. Yeah. We don't have that fanboys, or a million of them are nuts, or the crazies or the just punks to come on here. We have knowledgeable members.
Yeah, and that's it. And look, it's fine to disagree with people, as long as everyone is just respectful. That even though that I might wish for Yamaha to be the best bike in the world, even if I put it out there that it is my dream. Look, that's someone's.
Yeah. Hey, being a fan is great. I mean, that's what keeps the sport going.
Yeah.
But the nuts that start to blame, the conspiracy theories. No, they got 8 bikes, and that's the only reason they won. And blah 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 blah. The ones that start to pout and cry, and because they wanted their bike, that gets on my nerves. But
I suppose
we have good numbers.
We do. We have very good members, and look, I suppose people getting upset when you call their riders or their favorite bike shit. That's only natural. Do you know what I mean? I suppose, but look, those things happen.
Yeah.
But look, I just want to say thank you for everyone, and I have no plans in stopping for 2023 anyway. That's for sure. And we'll see how many times a week we publish. I would probably keep it to 3, but if I want to do 4, I'll do 4. We'll see. If there's lots to talk about, I'll just keep talking.
And I'll keep helping you as long as I'm on this side of the dirt. Okay.
That's no hassle. Yeah. Did you decide on your bike yet, or do we have a deadline on when you're deciding on your bike?
No. I got to figure out if I have cancer yet. They're going to tell me on they're going to see. I got to go for an MRI. Then they're probably going to tell me they got to go down and take a sample. If they go down your gullet, and it's if it's expanding, I'm dead, because the it's like non-operable. It's in the in the bile duct. So,
all right.
But it's one of them ones. It's the longest cancer to kill you. But if you have it, you're not going to make it.
Right.
An MDL. So.
Right. Well, look, we'll cross that bridge when
we get to it.
That happens. Yeah, exactly. There's no point in dwelling on it right now. But
right.
Well, look,
I got a good life. Trust me. I can give you a lot of stories. You know what I mean? Got more ass than a toilet seat. I can give you that one.
We'll take those ones off air. Yeah. But look, thanks for joining today, and we will catch up. Or we'll see everyone either after the test, or if not, the following Monday.
Okay.
All right.
Well, congratulations, Ducati, and hello, everybody. Goodbye.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. And big pink T-shirt time for Jiggy.
Big change. What is he gonna say? I'm right, or Mac's right, or
Mac was right. Yeah,
Mac was right. Yeah. You called it. Yeah, I'll tell you, none of the other podcasts that called. Everybody said Pecco's done. And you said, no, he's going to win it. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. Listen, look, sure, it was an easy bet for me, because if he fucked it up, I was like, what can you expect? He was 91 points behind.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But my God, I mean, think about it. He was 91 points behind. He had 5 races screwed up, right, in the beginning, because the bike wasn't ready, okay, with the 8 bike screw up. And he fell 5 times. Was it 5? I think it was 5, right?
Yeah.
Tell me one rider that has fell 4 times that just fell and then won the title.
You see, we because we've had the expanded calendar,
yeah.
I think the record was 3 and won it. Do you know what I mean? But the more races this time kind of filtered it out. But look, I think it's been an incredible championship. Well deserved, both first and second, and she's kind of got me going now for 2023 already.
I know, yeah. It's going to be interesting.
It will definitely be interesting. But let's come back again after testing and or after the Superbike race next weekend, and we'll see what goes on. All right.
Take care, all.
Okay. Peace out. Have a good one.